Left with no hope, a young pregnant woman's tears trigger an incredible, life-changing gesture. Maya sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the crumpled bills scattered around the floor like scattered fragments of her life. The weight of impending motherhood bore down heavily on her chest. Her job at the diner was gone, leaving her without the stability she needed. The mirror reflected a woman grappling with fear. She was 22, and on her way to becoming a single mother, a reality that felt impossibly dark. But she couldn't afford to drown. She had her family. They were there, unwavering in their support. Still, the gnawing thought that hope was slipping away left her feeling hollow. As the spring festival approached, a glimmer of escape caught her attention. With her family encouraging her to go, she decided to attend, hoping for a brief moment of relief from the suffocating cloud of worry. The vibrant decorations and laughter of children at the festival should have filled her with joy, but the contrast was shocking. She felt like an outsider, surrounded by the glow of life while she fought the shadows inside her heart. Her smile felt forced, like a mask she couldn't hold up much longer. Finally, away from prying eyes, she stepped into a quieter corner, her chest tight, and let the tears fall. They rolled down her cheeks like waves crashing against the shore, each one a silent scream for understanding. Just then, Mr. Thompson, a local veteran and mechanic, caught sight of her anguish. With weathered hands and a heart full of compassion, he knew too well the burden of suffering. As he observed the rawness of her pain, an idea began to form. A fundraiser for Maya. A serious debate sparked in the community, igniting passion and division. Some saw the fundraiser as a lifeline, while others voiced concerns over favoritism. Why help one over the many? Discussions became intense, echoing the broader experiences of a struggling community trying to hold on to fairness and hope. Yet, as tensions flared and voices rose, the invisible ties that bound them all began to emerge. Soon, stories flowed. Tales of loss, hardship, and resilience emerged among neighbors, sparking empathy and a sense of unity that had long been dormant. The collective struggle took precedence over individual concerns, igniting a spirit of cooperation that had been lacking. Meanwhile, Maya, blissfully unaware of the growing support, remained tangled in her despair, feeling unworthy, yet longing for change. The excitement for the fundraiser grew, a testament to community strength. As they mobilized together, the anticipation buzzed in the air. But Maya was stuck in her internal battle. Would this outpouring of generosity, this beacon of hope, be the support she needed? Or would her fears drown out the goodwill surrounding her? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With her due date looming, the emotional tide roared higher. The festival loomed on the horizon, where joy and despair would collide, leaving Maya and her community standing on shaky ground. Would she find the strength to accept help and allow hope to seep back into her life, transcending the solitude that had gripped her? The answers hung in the air, waiting for the spring festival to unfold, where transformation awaited both Maya and the community that had begun to stand behind her. The dawn of the spring festival arrived with great fanfare, the sun peeking through cotton candy clouds, bringing warmth and anticipation. Maya stood in front of the mirror, her heart racing as she adjusted her simple dress. The fabric felt scratchy against her skin, and she couldn't shake the feeling of inadequacy. Yet the gentle sound of her family bustling around her, her mother coaxing her younger brother to finish breakfast, her father teasing him about a prize-winning pie, offered a thread of comfort. "Are you ready, Maya?" her mother called, cheerily oblivious to the storm brewing within her. "Just Give me a sec, Maya replied, her voice barely above a whisper. She practiced a smile for herself, but it faltered. How could she face them? The festival was meant to be a celebration, and yet beneath the joyful surface, a deep-rooted fear festered. What if the community's support was too much? What if she was exposed for not measuring up to their expectations? As they drove towards the park, the streets sparkled with colorful banners and laughter drifting through the air like a sweet melody. Kids raced around with balloons, and booth owners set up tables brimming with homemade treats. Every joyous sight only deepened her sense of isolation. She felt like a ghost drifting through the scene, invisible among the living. When they arrived, Maya's family immediately joined the other festival goers, their spirits infectious. She felt the pull of her family moving further into the crowd, hands intertwined, laughter echoing, as her heart swayed between wanting to be part of their joy and stepping back into solitude. Maya, a voice cut through her thoughts. It was Mr. Thompson, his presence grounding and genuine. I'm so glad you decided to come. He approached her with a warm smile, one that seemed to know her heart better than she did. Thanks, she managed, her voice wavering. The fundraiser is going to be amazing, he continued, his eyes sparkling. We've got a lot planned, and people are excited to help. You deserve all of it, you know? She stared at him, his conviction engulfing her like a warm blanket. It was hard for her to process his words. Did she really deserve help? As if he sensed her struggle, he laid a gentle hand on her shoulder. Please, let us take care of you. Let them take care of you. This community can give you what you need. Maya's heart raced. Did she even know what she needed? The tears threatened to break the surface again, but she swallowed them down. I just feel scared, she admitted, voice quiet. What if I can't accept it? What if I don't deserve it? Maybe it's time to stop doubting and start believing, he answered, his voice steady and unwavering. In that moment, something shifted inside her. The communities of empathy and unity she had heard of began to take root in her mind. But what would it mean to step forward, to loosen her grip on despair? As the festivities began, the atmosphere swelled with positivity. Maya felt an undeniable impulse to step into the fray, but the tension of unsteady hope still clung to her. She took a breath and headed towards the crowd, drawn by the joy that surrounded her, but unsure of how she would fit in. With determination warring against her doubt, she stepped into the heart of the festival. Could she allow herself to accept this wave of support and let go of her fear? This was just the beginning of a journey she had yet to comprehend, and in the frantic urgency of the crowd, her answer began to crystallize. Maya stood at the edge of the crowd, the music thumping through her chest, drowning out the thoughts that swirled in her mind. She looked around. The laughter of children and the sweet scent of caramel apples swirled together, creating an intoxicating wave of familiarity. But all she could feel was a gnawing uncertainty. As she took a tentative step forward, she caught sight of her family's bright faces. They were lost in the excitement, her brother bouncing on his toes, eyes wide with wonder. For a moment, she envied their joy. Could she join them? The thought sent a shiver down her spine. Maya? A familiar voice broke through her thoughts again. It was Mrs. Jenkins, the kind older woman who lived 2 doors down. You look beautiful. Her smile was sincere, radiating warmth that coaxed a small smile from Maya in return. Thanks, Maya replied, her voice barely above a whisper again, but a spark ignited within her. Maybe she could start small. With each step deeper into the festival, Maya felt a little more of her rigidity fade away. The energy pulsed like a heartbeat, vibrant and alive. She stumbled upon a booth where people were painting faces and making crafts. A little girl with sparkly butterfly wings caught her eye. As the child giggled, Maya's heart warmed. That laughter, pure and unguarded, reminded her of the joy that existed, even through her uncertainty. "Come on, Maya. Let's get our faces painted." Her brother beckoned, running towards her with the enthusiasm only a child could muster. She watched as he picked out a cartoon lion from the display. The artist's brush moved quickly, blending shades of yellow and orange, creating a masterpiece that brought her brother an immense joy. Feeling a wave of courage, Maya joined him in line. "Can I get the same?" she asked with a chuckle, surprising herself. The artist nodded, and Maya felt her heart lighten. As the brush danced across her cheeks, the tension began to melt away. Maybe this was what it felt like to be part of something. After a few more booths and some delicious food, Maya found herself standing in front of a small stage. Several community members were sharing their stories of resilience. Each one resonated with her, echoing her fears, hopes, and the journey she had been on. When a young woman spoke about her own struggles, Maya felt an unexpected kinship blossom. She wasn't alone. Tears prickled at the corners of her eyes as she realized the power of connection. It wasn't about deserving or measuring up. It was about sharing, supporting, and uplifting one another. The festival was a living testament to that. When the crowd erupted into applause for the speakers, she clapped, feeling the warmth of community wrap around her like a comforting embrace. It felt like an invitation, a signal that she was allowed to lean on others. "Let them take care of you," Mr. Thompson's words echoed in her mind. With newfound determination, she knew she wanted to try. There had to be ways to let people in, to accept help without shame. But just as a wave of optimism surged through her, a sudden thought pierced her mood. What if she opened up, only to find disappointment? What would it mean to truly trust this community? Lost in her internal battle, Maya stood frozen until a gentle touch on her arm pulled her back to the present. It was Mrs. Jenkins again, her expression soft. "Would you like to share your story, dear?" she asked, genuine concern sparkling in her eyes. Maya felt her heart race. Share her story. Could she? She opened her mouth to respond, but only silence fell around her. The weight of that moment felt heavy. She was at a crossroads. Could she be brave enough to reveal herself? In that moment, she realized everything was about to change. And as she stood there, searching for the right words, she felt the ground shift beneath her. What if this was her chance to find her voice? The festival buzzed around her, a world alive and vibrant, holding its breath as Maya prepared to take a step she had never imagined possible. Maya's heart raced as the quietness hung in the air, the festival's lively chaos now a distant hum. Suddenly, she felt exposed beneath the gazes of the crowd, like a fragile leaf trembling at the edge of a storm. Mrs. Jenkins's encouraging eyes acted like a lighthouse, guiding her through the fog of doubt. "You can do this," she whispered to herself, barely audible over the distant sounds of laughter and music. She took a deep breath, grounding herself in the moment. "What do I even say?" she thought, clenching the edges of her shirt. But then, a gentle melody floated through the air. Someone was playing a familiar tune, one that reminded her of her childhood, of simpler days filled with carefree laughter and ice cream dribbled on summer afternoons. Maya felt warmth cascade through her, chasing away her fears, if only for a moment. "Maya," Mrs. Jenkins prompted softly, tilting her head, urging her forward. Maya's gaze roamed the faces in the crowd. She saw the anticipation, the hope, the shared struggles mirrored in so many eyes. It was as if an invisible thread connected them all. Taking another breath, she drew on that connection. My name is Maya," she began, her voice tremulous yet steady. "I don't know where to start." The crowd remained quiet, and a few encouraging whispers floated through. "I've felt lost for a long time," she continued, feeling the weight of her burdens slide off her shoulders with each word. I've been scared that I wouldn't belong, that I wouldn't fit in anywhere. Her brother stood at the edge of the crowd, his face painted bright with colors. He beamed at her, and that glow fueled her courage further. I always thought I needed to keep everything bottled up, that being vulnerable would make me weak. But today, I see that we are stronger together. Sharing our fears can actually connect us, all of us, in ways I never thought possible. As her voice grew stronger, she caught the glimmer of tears in Mrs. Jenkins' eyes and felt a swell of determination. People around her shifted forward, some leaning in, others nodding in affirmation. It was as if they were all weaving a safety net beneath her, allowing her to fall without fear. I'm not perfect, Maya said, smiling through her nerves. I don't have all the answers, but I want to try. I want to start building connections, not only with my family but with everyone here. We're all on our own journeys, and maybe, just maybe, we can help guide each other home. Applause erupted like a wave crashing on the shore, and Maya felt her cheeks flush with warmth. The sensation wrapped around her tightly, and for the first time in a long while, she didn't feel alone. There was hope here, a flicker of something alive growing between her and the community she had once feared. But just as the applause began to die down, a sharp pang of anxiety gripped her again. She remembered her own hesitations. What if she didn't hold up her end of their shared trust? What if she stumbled on her path? What if they see my weaknesses? The thought clawed at her confidence, an unwelcome echo of doubt returning to the forefront. Suddenly, a voice broke through her thoughts. You are brave for sharing, Maya. It was a man in the crowd, tears filling his eyes. Thank you for being open. It's okay to be afraid. You are not alone. As she locked eyes with him, the realization hit her. Vulnerability could be a strength, not just hers, but theirs. In that moment, everything shifted again. The opportunity to grow and connect was right there in front of her. Maya took a step forward, and the unexpected gesture of solidarity filled the air with promise. She could feel the tide of change washing over her, just as it enveloped the festival around them. Could this be the beginning of something new? For her? For everyone? Stepping down from the stage felt surreal. She walked with purpose, sensing the commotion swirling around her. With each step, she imagined all the possibilities ahead. A journey that now seemed filled with light and new beginnings. But then, just as she thought she had grasped her path, someone from the back of the crowd shouted, "What do you mean? Not alone?" An unsettling edge crept into the air, pulling Maya's heart tight. What if the shadows of their unspoken fears threatened to pull them apart again? Maya's spark of bravery flickered, uncertainty returning as she stepped into a new world, uncertain of what the future would bring next. Maya's heart skipped a beat at the outburst. She turned to face the voice, a woman with tear-stained cheeks emerging from the crowd. Panic swirled inside her like a storm. What had she started? The woman took a step forward, her hands trembling, desperation etched across her features. I'm sorry, but you say you're not alone? How can you say that when I feel so completely lost? When life is crushing me? Her words spilled out like a dam breaking, raw and unfiltered. Maya felt a heaviness settle in her chest. She understood that voice all too well. It was a cry for help. I'm here, she said instinctively, feeling the warmth drain from the supportive cloak of her earlier triumph. I can't understand everything you're going through, but I want to listen. I want to help. The crowd shifted, eyes flickering back and forth, uncertain. Maya needed to ground herself again. She remembered that fragile connection they had shared just moments before, the tapestry of emotions weaving them together. Inspiration welled up inside her once more, pushing back against the wave of anxiety. We are all feeling something, whether it's fear, sadness, or confusion. That's okay. It doesn't mean we can't be together in this. The woman looked at Maya like she had just offered a lifeline. I don't know about being strong. I'm pregnant, and I have no support. My partner left when I needed him the most. She gave a small, remorseful chuckle that sounded more like a sob, and the crowd tightened closer, some gasping, others holding back tears. Maya felt a pang of empathy. She could feel the ache of that woman's words tearing through the air, latching onto her heart. I'm truly sorry, she whispered, the vulnerability exposing her emotion. You are stronger than you know. You're fighting, and that takes something special. I can't take away your pain, but I want you to know you're seen. You're heard. As she spoke, she realized she was no longer on the stage, but standing firmly among them. It felt right. Maybe I can't hold you up, but we can lift each other, she added, her voice gaining momentum. The crowd began murmuring, expressions shifting from uncertainty to understanding. One by one, small gestures appeared. A woman stepped forward, pulling out her phone. I can help connect you with resources, places that can support you. You're not alone, she said, her voice soothing. Even the man from earlier spoke up. And I can be there for you. We can lean on each other. Murmurs of agreement cascaded from the edges of the crowd, and Maya felt a connection ignite, a flicker of hope. But just then the woman broke down, tears spilling freely. I've never felt so unsupported. I don't know how I will raise this child. Her words trembled in the air, heavy with fear. Maya stepped closer, gently placing a hand on the woman's shoulder. You have us now. It's terrifying, but let's take this one day at a time. We can create a network together, help each other through these dark times. Gradually, the woman's face softened. Maya held her gaze, willing strength to flow back into her. The crowd's murmurs became a symphony of voices sharing their own burdens, their own fears. And suddenly, Maya didn't feel just connected. She felt the weight of everyone's worries hanging in the air, tugging at her heart. In unison, they whispered words of encouragement, a collective and powerful promise to stand together. But even as reassurance filled the air, Maya understood this was only the beginning. What happens next? She thought, as the crowd continued to stir around her. As the festival lights twinkled overhead like stars watching over them, hope blossomed amid the darkness. But deeper shadows lurked in the corners of their hearts. Maya felt the mix of possibility and uncertainty settle again. Could they truly create a place of comfort for each other, or would other fears resurface to tear them apart once more? Maya's mind swirled with questions, her own heart still grasping for clarity. The rhythm of change pulsed freely around her, but lingering uncertainty surrounded them all. What if not everyone would choose to stay? What if obstacles loomed ahead that could put everything at risk? Maya took a deep breath, preparing for what might come next, her heart beating steadily against the whispers of doubt. She could feel the urgency of their moment together. What new challenges awaited now that they had opened this door? Maya held her breath, feeling both the warmth of the crowd and the chill of the uncertainty that clung to the air. The woman standing before her, still trembling, sniffled softly as the moment passed between them. I can't do this alone, she mumbled, looking down at her feet, the weight of her situation hanging heavy in her voice. Maya's heart ached as she watched the fragility ripple through the crowd. It was a powerful reminder that every person standing around them carried their own burdens. We're all in this together, Maya insisted, her voice steady and unwavering. Let's find a way to support one another. It's okay to feel lost, but we can create a map to guide us. Some heads nodded, a small tremor of agreement traveling through the crowd. A man on the perimeter stepped closer, courage bubbling up in him. I've been through hell, too. I lost everything once, but I found my way back with the help of others, he shared, his voice thick with emotion. Maya could see the effect of his words woven into the expressions of those around them. It was as if a tiny spark had ignited, coaxing forth the flames of resilience. The crowd began to share snippets of their own stories of heartbreak, loss, and unexpected victories. "I'm just a waitress, but last summer I started a book club," a woman spoke up, her voice trembling at first but growing bolder with each word. "It helped me find my voice again. Maybe we can do something like that. Find ways to lift each other up." Others chimed in, and a sense of camaraderie started to weave itself into the fabric of the gathering. Maya felt the energy in the air change, a tangible shift as realization crept in. Perhaps we could meet up regularly. We could share resources, maybe even start a group for moms in need. The crowd erupted in soft affirmations, a chorus of yes echoes reverberating through the gathering. Maya felt a pulse of excitement running through her. This was more than just a reaction to the moment. It was a call to action, a chance for everyone to grab hold of something more substantial. But suddenly, the woman with tear-stained cheeks stepped back, an alarmed look crossing her face. "But what if it doesn't work? What if we fail? What if I fail my baby?" Maya quickly stepped forward, the urgency nagging at her heart. "What if we don't try?" she countered, letting the weight of her words settle in the air. "What if we stay silent and let fear win? We're all dealing with uncertainties, but this is our chance to create something beautiful together." The crowd fell silent, the question hanging like a fragile thread between them. A child laughed nearby, cutting through the tension, much like a beam of sunlight breaking through the clouds. It was a gentle reminder of joy, of innocence. Maya smiled faintly, heartened by the laughter. "Yes, it might be scary," she continued, her voice softening. "But every step we take can lead us closer to hope. Every moment we share can lead us to brighter tomorrows." One by one, faces lit up. The energy of hope pulsed through the group as people began discussing ideas, food drives, shared housing, childcare co-ops, and everything in between. Together, they envisioned a community where no one felt unsupported. Maya's own heart swelled as she thought of how far they had come in such a short time. But deep inside, she couldn't shake the nagging worries, those pesky thoughts whispering that not everyone would remain committed. Just as the buzz of fresh ideas surrounded them, she caught a glimpse of an old acquaintance at the edge of the crowd, a figure she had never expected to see again. The familiar face felt like a ghost from her past. Maya's stomach twisted as their eyes met. The uncertainty that had just begun to fade thrust itself back into her chest, more potent and alarming than before. What if this could change everything? Again. Or worse, what if it could tear the fragile bonds they had just begun to weave? Maya's breath quickened, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. The crowd around her faded into a blurry backdrop as she absorbed the reality of the figure standing just a few feet away. It was Claire, her childhood friend, the one who had once known all her secrets. They'd shared laughter and dreams, before life pulled them in opposite directions. "Maya?" Claire's voice broke through the noise, uncertainty lacing her tone. The last time they had spoken, it had been filled with anger and hurt, both unwilling to heal the rift that had grown between them. Now, seeing her again, the world around Maya swirled with an intensity that made everything else feel irrelevant. "Claire," Maya replied, her voice faltering. She tried to gauge where Claire stood in her own life, the years having widened the gap between them. The space should have been filled with warmth, but instead, it felt heavy with unresolved emotions. "I didn't think I'd see you here," Claire said, glancing around at the little gathering, the energy pulsing through the crowd starkly contrasting the tension in their reunion. I'm just here for support," she finished awkwardly, her eyes darting away like a startled rabbit. Maya sensed Claire's struggle. It mirrored her own. The need for connection had brought them both here, yet the past loomed like a shadow. "We're trying to build something, Claire. Something new," she confessed, hoping to bridge the distance. "People need each other now more than ever." Claire nodded slowly, but appeared lost in thought. The tears on her cheeks caught the light, shining like call for help, and Maya instinctively took a step closer. "You don't have to do this alone," Maya whispered, locking her eyes with Claire's. "We can help each other." Suddenly, the crowd's energy shifted, drawn into their moment. They could feel the heaviness of the unspoken words, and it made their gathering feel raw and intimate. Silence washed over them, as if everyone was holding their breath, waiting for wisdom to unfold from the fragile connection between the two women. "I don't know if I can—" Claire's voice broke, pain lacing her words. "I've made so many mistakes. I just can't seem to find my way back." Maya closed her eyes for a brief moment. Her heart continued to ache, a tidal wave of empathy sweeping through her. Each tear that spilled from Claire was a reflection of the countless struggles she had faced. "We're all lost sometimes," she said softly. "That's why we need each other, to find our way back." As her words settled, a ripple of understanding traversed the group. People began to turn their attention to Claire, their own struggles momentarily forgotten. "You're not alone," a voice from the back echoed, a woman stepping forward with a warm smile. "We've all messed up. Together we can help each other rise again." Maya watched as Claire's trembling hands reached up to wipe away the tears staining her cheeks. There was a flicker of recognition in her eyes, a hint of hope that maybe, just maybe, this moment could spark a change. But that flicker of hope was also tinged with doubt. Would Claire truly allow herself to open up? Would she embrace this tentative bond? Maya felt the knot in her belly twist tighter, the fear of losing the connection again looming large. "Maya," Claire started, her voice steadier now. "What if I can't be what you all hope I can be? What if I fail again?" Maya stepped closer, determination surging through her. "What if you succeed?" She held Claire's gaze, strong and unwavering. "What if together we create something beautiful?" But just as Maya felt the crowd rally around them, an alarming voice broke through. "You can't trust her." It was a man, shadowed at the edge of the crowd. His eyes flickered with anger. "She abandoned you once, she'll do it again." The atmosphere shifted instantly, resentment igniting like dry grass. Maya's heart plummeted. Would this all come crashing down? In that crucial moment, Maya's focus pulled tight. The flicker of hope wavered, teetering on the edge of doubt. But as she looked at Claire, she realized it was now or never. Would they let fear and doubt define their choices? Or would they cling to the flicker, that potential for change? The crowd fell silent, eyes locked on the unfolding tension, each individual caught between belief and fear. What would happen next? Would they forge ahead, or retreat into the shadows of their pasts? Claire's gaze darted towards the man who had spoken, her expression one of disbelief. The crowd, previously buoyed by Maya's words, felt a shift in the air, like a storm gathering strength. Maya could sense the fear and uncertainty ripple through them all. She took a deep breath, the weight of the moment pressing against her chest. "Wait!" Maya called out, raising her hands in a gesture of calm. Her heart raced as she faced the growing chorus of doubt and apprehension. "This isn't about our pasts. It's about moving forward. We all have shadows hanging over us, but those shadows don't have to rule our lives." The man stepped closer, his brow furrowed with rage. "And what makes her different this time? How can we trust someone who turned their back?" Maya felt a fire ignite in her belly, determined to defend Claire, to tear down the walls that had grown between them all. "We can't let fear rob us of the chance to heal," she insisted. Her voice trembled but rang out with a clarity that cut through the tension. If we close our hearts because of past mistakes, we'll never find hope. Claire's eyes met Maya's, and the flicker of uncertainty began to glow brighter. Around them, people shifted uncomfortably, weighing their own fears against the possibility of understanding. Maya's heartbeat echoed loudly in her ears as she realized the moment was slipping away. "Look at her!" Maya shouted, pointing a finger gently toward Claire, who now wore a mask of vulnerability and strength. "She's standing here, willing to face her demons. If that's not bravery, I don't know what is." A few voices murmured in agreement, their own insecurities surfacing alongside Claire's. That small encouragement seemed to embolden Claire. She took a tentative step forward, surrendering to the connection that had always lingered between them, like an extended hand across a chasm. "I've hurt people, including you, Maya," Claire admitted, her voice trembling but steady. She squeezed her eyes shut and pressed her palm against her heart. "I don't know what I can offer, but I want to try." The crowd hung on her every word, entranced by the raw honesty. They had all struggled too. Each of them had felt the urge to drown in their own scars. The man, still tense, seemed to waver. But what if she betrays us again? What if we give her our trust, and she throws it away? "Then we'll fight together," Maya declared firmly. "Every time someone stumbles, we'll lift them back up. That's how it should be." Around them, heads began to nod. The collective hesitance started to dissolve into a tide of tentative hope. Claire's shoulders dropped, and tears streamed down her cheeks. "I want to be better," she whispered, a sob breaking free. "I'm so tired of being afraid." Maya stepped closer and wrapped her arms around Claire, pulling her into a warm embrace. The gesture cradled the fractures of their friendship, a silent promise to navigate the challenges together. It was a moment that shifted everything. The crowd remained silent, witnessing the shift, feeling the warmth of vulnerability. Hope flickered to life like candles igniting in a darkened room. Suddenly a young woman stepped forward, her face illuminated by the glow of understanding. "I've made mistakes too," she called out, her voice rising above the rest. "Let's not just forgive her. Let's forgive ourselves." Maya felt the surge within the group, the emotional current shifting toward solidarity. Laughter bubbled up from the back, breaking the solemn atmosphere, and people began to share their own struggles, each story strengthening the bond they were forming. Just as Maya thought they had turned a corner, a loud crash echoed from the edge of the gathering, followed by frantic shouting. A man stumbled into view, panic etched on his face. "Something's wrong. It's bad." What had just been a moment of healing now felt threatened. Maya exchanged a terrified glance with Claire. The moment of vulnerability hung in the air, and she feared what might come next. They had just begun to embrace hope. Would they have to face a new danger before they could truly rise up together? A wave of anxiety washed over the crowd, twisting stomachs into knots. Maya could feel Claire's heart pound against her, the pulse a frantic reminder of everything they had just begun to mend. The man's warning echoed in her mind as she surveyed the gathering. The laughter, the shared stories. It all felt so fragile now, like the first signs of spring threatened by a sudden frost. "What's happening?" Maya demanded, stepping forward, her voice steadier than she felt. The frantic man was gasping for breath, still shaking as he glanced around. "There's a fight breaking out near the old barn," he shouted, looking harried and wild-eyed. "Some guys from the other side of town are here. They're throwing bottles and—" His voice cracked, choking on the weight of his words. "They're after anyone who's standing with us." The crowd collectively inhaled, a shared gasp that echoed like a seismic wave. Maya's mind raced. The fellowship they had just begun to build was at risk. A dangerous storm was crashing into their healing moment. She swallowed hard, searching the faces around her. This wasn't just about Claire anymore. It was about them all. "Listen," Maya started, raising her voice above the rising panic. "We've come so far. We won't let fear erase everything we just unlocked. If we stand together, we can handle this." She scanned the crowd, noticing a flicker of determination igniting in the eyes of some. "This was supposed to be our moment," Claire gasped, her face pale. "Are we really going to let them take this from us?" "No," Maya replied fiercely, searching for strength within the chaos. "We can't let our pasts or the threats around us control our future. We stand together, remember? That's what we just decided." A young woman, tears glistening but eyes fierce, stepped forward. "I won't stand for it. Not anymore." Her voice quivered, but it was fueled by an undeniable force. "I'm pregnant, and I deserve to raise my child in a safe place. We all do." She raised her hand, urging the others to look at her. "We are stronger together. Let's show them." Maya's heart swelled with admiration. In the face of adversity, this woman was ready to fight for her child, for their collective dream. The crowd began to murmur in agreement, their resolve building. "Yeah, we're here for each other," called another voice from the back, rallying others forward. With every moment, the energy transformed from fear into a raw, powerful surge of defiance. Together, they formed a line of solidarity, feet planted firm, holding hands as they braced for whatever would come next. Maya glanced at Claire, who was now standing resolute, a fire in her gaze. "Whatever happens, we do this together," Claire whispered, squeezing Maya's hand. Just then, the first of the outsiders came into view, shadows looming menacingly against the fading light. A sense of dread settled over the group. Maya inhaled deeply, ready to face the storm. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw a flash of color, a bright scarf. A woman on the outskirts, wavering between fear and resolve, met Maya's gaze. She took a deep breath and stepped forward, arms raised high, inviting unity. But would they really hold their ground? Or would all their hopes collapse in the turmoil? As tension crackled in the air, everything hinged on this next moment, and what choices they would make as uncertainty loomed ahead. Would they be able to rise up, to believe in themselves and each other, even when darkness threatened? As the tension thickened in the air, Maya felt an electric shiver travel through the crowd. Fear danced just below the surface, but so did courage. The strangers approached, their snarls and jeers echoing ominously. Each step they took matched the pounding of Maya's heart, the pulse of unity and trepidation blending into something stronger, something that felt undeniably like hope. "Stay together," Maya called out, her voice slicing through the noise. Instinctively, hands tightened in a show of solidarity, and she could see the determination flicker in their eyes. The crowd wasn't just together. They were becoming something bigger, a force that couldn't be easily bent or broken. As the outsiders drew closer, a chaotic mix of noise and aggression filled the air. Comments flew as harshly as fists. Yet here, within this community, Maya felt something shift, a shared heartbeat, a resolve not to allow the shadows of their pasts to dim the light of their present. Amidst the roar, Claire turned her gaze toward Maya, a silent question hanging between them. "What now?" she mouthed, her brow furrowed. Maya took a deep breath, summoning every ounce of strength. "We face them. Together," she shouted, her voice rising above the noise. "We fight not with fists, but with our hearts. Let them see the love that binds us." The crowd shifted, emboldened by her words. Murmurs of agreement washed over, the undercurrent of fear beginning to turn into something transformative. People started stepping farther away from the back of the crowd, moving alongside Maya, as if willing to defend the very foundation they had begun to build. "Let's show them who we really are," a voice rang out, a woman who had come to share her own story moments ago. "This is our home." "Yes," others echoed, a wave of affirmation cascading through them. The tension shifted, and the outsiders faltered. It wasn't just a group of people. They were a community, and that community was blazing with strength. As the first of the outsiders hurled a bottle, it shattered against the ground with a deafening crash, a moment that sent silence rippling through the air. But instead of retreating, the crowd stood their ground, holding hands and coming together to shield one another. Maya felt a rush of adrenaline, a fierce protection surging within her. Claire raised her chin, her eyes shining bright. "We won't back down," she shouted, her voice ringing with confidence. The words were a rallying cry, a powerful reminder that they were not defined by fear or the actions of a few. The outsiders, sensing the unity, hesitated. The energy shifted. For every jeer or insult thrown their way, the crowd countered with an infectious cheer of support for Maya, Claire, and anyone brave enough to stand tall. "Together!" Maya cried, feeling the strength of each hand surrounding hers. "Together we will rise." And in that moment, something beautiful happened. The gathering of voices swelled as more people joined in, chanting, "Together! Together!" It was an unstoppable tidal wave of hope, washing over the encroaching negativity like a protective shield. The outsiders stumbled back, the confidence radiating from this community overpowering their aggression. They had never anticipated such a passionate outpouring of defiance, a defiance rooted in love and connection. The crowd murmured with one voice, an ebbing sea of unity that quelled the storm threatening to break them apart. As the tension hung in the air, Maya turned to Claire, who beamed, her spirit reflecting the vibrant hope that wrapped around them. "We did it," she said, her voice laced with awe and disbelief. "Together," Maya affirmed, squeezing her hand tight. And steadily, the realization dawned on them both. They weren't just fighting against outsiders. They were fighting for each other, for every soul that had ever felt lost or isolated. The remaining outsiders exchanged hesitant glances. Their energy began to dissipate. The crowd's rhythm pulsed stronger, soothing the chaotic energy swirling in the air. And finally, with one last look, they turned and slinked away, retreating into the distance. Maya's heart raced as cheers erupted around her, faces glowing with relief and triumph. They had faced down fear, together, and emerged stronger. In that moment, she understood that vulnerability was equaled only by the power of community. As the songs of resilience filled the late afternoon air, she stepped into the warm embrace of her family and friends, tears trickling down her cheeks. Not from fear, but from gratitude. Every person around her had transformed, and in turn, they had transformed her. Maya looked to the horizon, a promise of new beginnings stretching out before them. "This is just the start," she shouted, her voice weaving through the laughter that reverberated with hope. "Together," the crowd echoed, knowing that no matter what storms awaited them, they would face them as one, emboldened by their stories, their shared struggles, and their unyielding love. So as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting golden light upon this newfound sanctuary, Maya felt the boundless potential of the road ahead. Together, they had risen, and together, they would carry on, creating a life filled with hope. And you, dear friends, your journey can soar from here. Don't wait, not even one more second, to join this incredible community. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss our exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us spread this message of hope. Comment your feelings about this ending and how it touched your heart. Share instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support and uplift others. Together, we can change lives.